welcome back. This is part 3 of the 2022 Cr250 project. Currently we are finishing up the exhaust. Silencer came in today. I went with the Cr250Af stainless shorty. The picture is deceiving on the website. It shows that it only has one mount, but it actually has 2 mounts. So I always thought it was actually going to come like short with the cap somewhere between here and there, but it's fine the way it is. I didn't want it sticking out too far back behind the plastic, so I kind of wanted it tucked, but it'll do. So this is the bracket that BBC supplies here, and the bolt and spacer. This is the bolt for your 450 exhaust. So I've already got a bushing and a spacer in here, and that worked perfectly. And then the way this exhaust is, that mount is straight on the exhaust, and then this one's got a slight angle, and the piece they give you is just a flat piece. So well, there's really no instructions with it, like I said. So I'm just gonna take put this in the vise and bend it at a slight angle. This is at the same angle this is here, and then it'll be perfect. I just didn't want to put the bolt in it being, crooked like that. So I'm gonna put a slight bend in that, and then another bolt, spacer, and grommet and all that, and the silencer should be good. Got the rear expansion chamber mount loosely tightened up there with the supplied reducer. And then this is the lower mount for the expansion chamber that they supplied. This is a steel bracket here. It's got black paint on it, but yeah, I'm gonna take this out and show you guys what it looks like. But this is the only piece that actually does not line up nowhere near where it should. So it's threaded hole in the right side engine cradle mount, and this is the spacer they give you. And I had another bushing and all in this side here, but I took it out because it's not gonna work. I've got the pipe where it's supposed to be. It barely clears the frame rail on the left side of the frame. I got the springs on. And so when you put this spacer, this is what you're supposed to have. They labeled this as a exhaust spacer here. And the spacer goes up against there, and then it goes behind it. But yeah, that does not line up. This is supposed to be in that. So what I'm gonna do is cut that off and drill another hole in it. I don't think there's actually enough material to drill the same size hole as that, but yeah, I think one bushing will be fine, and then I'll just put a really tight bolt through here with a hole in this piece, and that will be fine. Not too fond of that. I don't understand how that doesn't line up when everything else pretty much lines up and fits the way it should, when barely clearing the power valve cover as well. So that's where the pipe clears everything on the bike, and it just does not nowhere near line up with that lower mount that they supplied. They said it used 2000 to 2001 Cr250 exhaust, and that's what that is. That is a 01 Platy and a 01 R304. So for this side of the bike, we still need to tidy up the wiring. I got the kill switch. Wired in. I was test fitting the CDI box. I'm not quite sure where I want to put it at. I'm thinking maybe, since I kept the air box, the top half of the air box, which they said not to do, or they didn't do in their bikes, I got plenty of room up in here to put it. Or I might put it behind the front number plate because it reaches both of those without actually having to extend any of the wiring or anything. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, fuel tank is done. my O-rings from Honda came in because the guy I got this roller from had to take the fuel pump, and he didn't leave me the O-rings from the fuel pump, so I'm sure he had to use those. And BBC does not give you new O-rings, so you got to order Honda O-rings and a dust seal to go on that billet petcock conversion piece for your billet, for your titanium tank. So, yep, that's where we're at. So really all we lack is the radiators. The radiator is going to be the biggest thing on this bike. The radiators that they supplied with the kit, honestly, are subpar. I really do not want to run them. They have you space the radiators out from where they mount with spacers. So they want you to put one of these in between each of the radiator mounts. Here's the janky radiators that they give you. Just like some Cr250 radiators that have been modified. I need to take this plastic off, but the top bolt mounts right where the factory radiator does, and then on these new bikes, the lower mount's actually on the back side of the radiator right here. And they give you a little extension bracket to mount that, but I don't want to have to space these out and then spread the shrouds an inch on each side to run these stupid radiators. So, all right, I'm gonna give you a little bit better look on how they wanted you to do these radiators. So, factory radiator mounts, top and bottom, and then they give you this black bracket here with the hole in it. And then they don't give you any bolts to mount it up. And a threaded hole here that's not even, I mean, it's not flush with the bracket, and then it's got a really small base. It's really stupid in my opinion. So then that gives you the ability to, you know, mount this the way the factory Cr250 is supposed to be. But then, hold on, it doesn't fit. So you gotta mount it off 1 inch with spacers. So the radiator ends up being a whole inch out further on each side. And then your shroud's therefore 1 inch wider on each side. And I had them both on there, and it makes the bike really wide. It flares out and makes them real pointy and shit. I'm not for that, so I'm gonna get these fixed. So here's the factory left side 450 radiator that's all tweaked up because it was wrecked, or somebody wrecked it. I didn't ride the bike before. I got the roller with no engine, but yeah, you can see how the mounts are on. One is on each side of the radiator. So the factory mounts like that, one there and one there. I'm gonna run these. All I have to do is get this this outlet right here cut off and welded, and 90 degrees pointing that way. I can't speak right here. And then these two tanks at the top being connected works just perfectly. I don't have to do anything with the top of the tanks except for add in a 90 degree facing down, just like on this side. So that's not gonna be hard. The hardest thing is the bottom tank on this side. So cut that off 90 degrees to the right, 90 degrees facing down on this one. And I gotta get a new one because this one's clearly fucking destroyed. I've got to figure out how to get this outlet and a hose to the water pump inlet here. Inlet or outlet, I'm not sure. But yeah. Factory Cr250 frame did not come this close to the pipe right here, so I've got to figure out, I think I'm gonna cut this off, plug that hole, and get an outlet going straight down to the inlet here. And I've also got to connect this lower tank to the other lower tank on that side radiator. So I may have it come out straight here 90 over to connect the other 90 on the bottom tank for that side, and then have a straight outlet go down to the and then on the water pump there. So I've got a buddy up in the mountains that's a beast at TIG welding. He fixed my 500 frame when the first guys welding wasn't too sharp. So yeah, that's it. That's really it. The radiators, the hoses, and bike will be done. Overall, this kit is, I give it a 6 out of 10 so far. The most important things you need really are just the engine cradles to bolt your motor up, the head stay brackets. I mean, the fabricated intake is nice, but it didn't work perfectly. I had to cut about 1/4 of an inch off of the whole thing. I had to put it in a vise and open it up because the tube was too smashed, where this sort of a radiator hose or silicone hose couldn't even go from one shape to the other that short. So I had to open that hole back. I had to open the fabricated intake up. It's steel, so I had to press the shit out of it. And then I had to trim about 1/4 of an inch off of this side, and then both boots had to be trimmed a whole lot to get the intake to fit right. I also didn't like how they didn't want you to keep the other half of that air box, which keeps air filter from getting hit with a lot of dirt and debris. Still got obviously plenty of airflow, but you can see in their pictures when the bike's assembled, it's just missing all that, and it looks like there's just way too much free space on the bike. It looks odd, so I'll cut out all the nonsense on the inside and kept it as one nice piece. So, yep, almost there. All the controls are done. Clutch, got my nice moose, hammerhead, racing billet, whatever, kill switch, I love those. Throttle's all nice and done. I can't wait to ride this thing, boys. It's gonna be such a difference than riding a 500 all the time. It's just too much bike. So, yep, that's where we're at. Part 4, we should be about done. Maybe crank it up. I still got to get the coil, right coil that mounts this certain distance here, so I don't have to place it somewhere. I want it mounted correctly, so they're getting me the right, or I asked them to give me the right part number for the coil they use that mounts up on the factory 450 space in there. So once I get my coil on the way, and I'll be done with parts. I'll get my radiators welded up, and that'll be it. So maybe part 4 should be going to my boys. We'll see. I don't know. I'm trying to get it done as fast as possible without taking any shortcuts. Thanks for watching. Bye.